There you go. Now
All right. Okay. 3, 2, 1. Okay.
My ears. Oh.
So welcome to Talking After the Show, The Flash, Season 1, Episode 16, Rogue Time. I am Ari Styles, ARI4NNE on Twitter, and this is...
Christopher Schmidt. I am Telject on Twitter. I'm TELEJECT on Twitters, and we're with...
Devin the Flash Johnson. I am on Twitter at Flash Johnson, and I'm also at fastestpenalive.com.
Cool.
Perfect.
Awesome.
Okay, so who wants to start?
I think you should start.
Think I should start?
Well, I could say for I feel embarrassed because my cliche lock of the week from last week was that the episode would end with them in the bowling alley.
Oh.
Like as a mirror ending of the first episode. It totally did not happen, so we avoided Cliche City.
All right.
So that was pretty good. But other than that, I just want to get that out the door. Right
Okay.
there.
Okay.
But you want to just, what did you like about it? What did you, Ari?
Well, I liked the episode, but for me, it was kind of filled with, I mean, it's like a lot of stuff happened kind of like last week, but different, and a lot of stuff that happened I did not like.
Yeah.
So, I fully am willing to say it was a good episode, but a lot of the things that happened in it, I was like,
So was it like they did all the cool things? It's sort of like a cop-out, right? It's sort of like is one of those episodes where they do a lot of cool things, and then they just immediately take them back because of some time travel snafu or something like that, right?
Yeah, cool things, but I mean, definitely they moved a whole bunch of stories forward, and now I feel like, I don't know, at least half of them still rolled forward just in a different way, and then, a lot had to take a sharp turn, which I think we all knew was going to happen, where it's just we couldn't predict what it was going to be last week. But my saving thing that I'm happy about is that Cisco walked out alive, which I was afraid that he was going to die some other way.
Right.
I was like, oh god, they're going to do something else, and I know he's going to be like a character much later on in the comic book and everything, but that doesn't necessarily mean they'll do the same thing for the show, because there's a lot of shows that follow comic books that don't do exactly what's in the comic book either. So, in any case, he walked out alive, and so that was the thing that made me happy.
Right.
And also, having a moment. Oh, Caitlin continues to surprise, I think, with her her quick answers and like ways to patch things over. I think, and so I felt like this was a good example of that.
Like how so? Like which thing?
Well, how she made up the story about his lightning problem. This, I've just kind of felt that way about her in the past, where it's like she's thinking quick on the social graces or whatever it is, something to like make an uncomfortable situation better.
Right.
And so I kind of appreciate her for that, but wow, Iris made me really mad this week. So.
Is Iris back on notice this week?
Iris is always on notice.
Oh yeah, that's right. We should have Iris on notice.
I know. It's just,
on notice.
Yeah, she really dug it deep for me. Not because, I don't think that she necessarily betrayed her feelings, because I do think that Wells was right about a lot of times it takes an emergency or something major for people to acknowledge their feelings that maybe that they're carrying around.
Right.
And so I knew that the, Barry's approach was not going to work this time. You could just see when it, started to fall into place.
You can see the Titanic falling apart.
Way.
Yeah.
But for her, to blab about it to her boyfriend, I thought was kind of like, when it was already kind of a sore subject and she knows they have to work together, I was like, you are a 13-year-old trapped in the body of a woman, basically. Yeah. And so, I'm this close to done. Well, I keep waiting for her to dig her way out.
Well, she's a woman trapped in the, she's a character trapped in the mind of a 13-year-old writer.
Maybe who's mad at some girlfriend from middle school. I don't know.
Yeah, it's kind of. I feel like they could write her a little bit better to be a stronger character, but I don't know. But yeah, so how about you, Devin? What do you think?
I think, well, I want to say about Iris, I think they're definitely developing her into being a more serious type of person. It's going to take some time. Everyone's kind of just moving into place and moving into position to be who they're going to be. And I see her definitely going in a direction that possibly will be a little less in the future. We'll see.
Yeah.
Into our lives.
Right.
I was a fan of seeing Cisco's family and, kind of, fleshing out a little bit more. That was really cool, seeing his brother Dante and all that stuff. It's an interesting thing. I don't recall if the brother he had in the comic books was actually named Dante.
Yeah.
He has characters with Vibe, and he's had this brother who had similar powers called Reverb.
Right.
Later on, and I don't know if that's like related at all. I didn't even bother looking into it. I was just like, oh, this is kind of cool. Nice. Beyond that, Alchemical Gold Gun?
Yeah. What was that about? Well, I was like, hey, we could turn anything gold. Let's go rob a bank.
Exactly. Yeah.
I was like,
short-sighted much?
Yeah, no, it's just like, I was like, I don't remember them having gold guns before, and if so, I was just like, we've just like eliminated a lot of economic systems right now.
Yeah, I understand that these villains are popular and that it's it's entertaining and all that sort of thing, but I because of the things that did happen and didn't this time around, some of the things that got dialed back. I think one of the things that got dialed back was that we lost some really dramatic confrontations with a really strong villain by just putting him in jail right away.
Yeah.
And then the villains that we have, I mean, obviously they can still create a great deal of mayhem and do a lot, but they're much more on a campy level.
Right.
And their powers rely a great deal on what Cisco has created. So they're, to me, because of that, it's silly, but I just don't think of them as very strong villains.
Right.
So, yeah, I kind of miss that, the excitement of dealing with a really strong villain.
Well, it's almost, I feel like they Barry threw down the gauntlet by the end of this episode, saying like, but basically saying like you should be smarter than what you are doing to come cold.
Yeah.
It's like you need to not kill anyone.
That, yeah.
And like you just, basically he was saying, he was basically saying, I deserve a better quality villain. Is what he just came out with. I was like, hey, you know what? Kudos for you for figuring out what my name is, but
I kind of feel like we dug you out of that 1960s Batman series, and we need you to step it up a little.
Your sister makes gold. All right. Let's not go beyond step 2 here. Let's just dial it back to step 1. You make gold now. So, it's kind of okay. And then the Heatwave character I felt like was kind of like he's just a meathead, but I feel like I wish he would play him a little more straighter, but that's just me. But yeah, I felt like
so over the top.
I don't know. I felt like it was a taste of time travel, and they're setting it up, I think, for finale down the road, and so that's just what I felt like today's episode was, and I felt like a little bit of too much of a tease.
Oh.
But yeah, I was like, and it really a major tease was bringing Cisco back down with excuse me, with the doctor and to the reverse flashes thing. It was so dramatic. It's like, oh my gosh, everyone was like, I was gasping like, don't kill Cisco! Oh my gosh! that was my real life fear.
I didn't think he was going to at all.
Yeah, not coming at all.
Yeah. I didn't have that feeling, but I might be in the. Did you feel like that was going to happen?
No, I mean it was definitely he'd already basically kind of fixed what he needed to fix in order to protect his identity and keep himself fine forward. I mean, it happens that he pushed his hand,
Yeah. Plus, I think he needs Cisco.
Right.
I think that Star Labs needs him.
Yeah.
And so he's not going to kill him unless he absolutely has to.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah.
Although he's getting more weapons for more villains, so I don't know.
Yeah.
Take him out just as a liability.
Yeah, maybe they'll have to set up a demerit system. Or,
identities up, like,
you have to clean the imaginary toilets.
This goes probably on notice right now. Actually, you're asking people on notice. This goes back on.
Right.
Yeah, I did appreciate. I really did appreciate the science jail making a visit. I don't know, appearance like within the first 2 minutes.
Yes.
Of the episode is like. Yeah, Weather Wizard. Hey, Science Jail, you're back! Yay!
Science Jail.
Yeah. So I like that. It's like there's no toilets in Science Jail, and so, but
that you know of.
Yeah, exactly.
They really need to revisit that whole. I definitely see them basically breaking them out of that prison.
Yeah.
Cold knows the secret. Cold knows all that stuff. Cold's gonna want allies. Cold's gonna want people to work with. And I think Martin's like one of those people. He just might hey, break into Star Labs, cause some mayhem, bring some people out, whatever. What's that other guy they have in there? The Rainbow Raider, Roy, the guy we barely even saw.
Mm-hmm.
He basically was there, and then like, oh, let's go get this guy, and he's like in the prison.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I think he Barry tipped his hand. Or I mean, it was Vi or like Cisco. He said like, "Hey, I can just put you back in our jail at the Collider," and I was like, "Why would you tip your hand that you have a science jail?" So yeah, so yeah.
Barry told Colt that, you mean?
Yeah, I think so.
Yes.
I mean, he already knew what was going on. Basically, he was just making a threat that he would go somewhere and would never be able to do anything. Right. So he was basically trying his best in his good guy way to be like, I'm going to take you out somehow, blah, 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 blah.
Right.
I mean, it basically fell on deaf ears. He was like, nope. I have a continue.
Yeah. Okay, so I have a question for you both, because it still came to light by the end of the episode that Wells is not the good guy that we think he is. But the reveal is much different. Last time around, it was kind of like several people knew, and it was just kind of spread across...
Right.
Several people, and this time it's really between Joe and Barry, because Barry's realizing it and talking to Joe about it, so it's just the two of them, and so it probably just is what it is. But in my brain, I'm like, is that better or worse?
Right. Well, so, I think it's better because I think Cisco. Sorry, I think Cisco's knows that there's a seed that. Wells is evil, but has not followed through with it because of the time thing, whatever. And so that's good, but I think it's also good because Cisco cannot show his character is like he cannot show his he can't hide feelings very well. So whereas showing it with his dad, his adopted dad, who's a cop, can it's better for him to do that. And so I think it'll play better for Barry down the road.
What do you think, Devin?
Yeah.
I mean, they definitely showed it where kind of like some situations that would have normally have happened didn't happen, that created that butterfly effect to get to that point where Cisco realizes everything. So that was kind of cool that they covered their tracks that way.
Yeah.
I mean, I like the fact that Barry's kind of just now catching on a bit, and that he's kind of just keeping it to himself for now, except for with Joe, and just figuring it out. The only thing I'm confused about, though, is all the development from before with Cisco and going with Joe to the crime scene and all other stuff and all other situations. I wonder how that's going to unfold, because he's still going to be trying to investigate it still. I'm assuming Joe.
Right. Is
he going to be more open about it now? Is he going to be a little quieter about it? I mean, I want to see how he's about doing that.
Yeah, well, the obvious upshot is that Cisco lived, because he didn't reveal anything or come to any realizations in front of Dr. Wells, and so I get that. Something I think that it could lead to, which I think is a bad thing, but it happens so many times, and it's part of what makes comic book stories tragic and wonderful, is that the two people that are in the know right now are both people that are very self-sacrificing and really big and stubborn on self-determination.
Right.
And so they, both of them with this knowledge could do something maybe not so well reasoned in the future. And so that's the only thing that I think it kind of sets up, is that it's two people that would be willing to, two of the characters in the show that are probably most willing to sacrifice themselves for the greater good. And, well, the show is named The Flash.
Right.
So I can't picture Barry, obviously he's going to work on it and contribute to, making things better, but I can't imagine that he will hurt himself, but I picture other people getting hurt, and maybe not just his mom.
Right.
I'm wondering, though, what triggers him going back in time now, because you have, basically, he gets this warning now. He's seen what happens when he's done these things, even on a smaller scale.
Right.
He's seen things dramatically. And so, even just saying, hey, you sure you want to go out back in time and try this thing again? I mean, you see what happens now. So I'm wondering if they've got some big battles and he's going to just kind of push their hand or tip them forward or crazy. I don't know. But it seems like he's not going to really do that willingly now.
Right.
Be more of a crazy thing that comes out of nowhere after moving too fast or something nuts.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's like, if you tie it to the comic books, especially the Wally West ones, which you always refer back to, is that like Linda was Wally West's lightning rod. He would always say that over and over again, lightning rod. So when he travels through time, he always knows when to come back, because Linda was his lightning rod. Come back to it. So it was pretty easy that way. So I think what happened is that he was able to go back in time because they just admitted their love for each other, Iris. And so he was able to, like, his emotions were high, his chemicals were going full ballistic. Yeah. So he was able to do it then. He flashes back, and he messes up, and then so she doesn't love him, all this stuff. So he's mentally not ready to go back, time travel, or use his powers that way. So that's why I took it. So I mean, so if you take that as a projection or prediction, I think by the end of the episode they'll recommit their love for each other or something like that. So that's my prediction.
Iris.
Yeah.
I know.
I
know.
Yeah.
I should stop.
You have a lot worse. I'll tell you that.
Right. Okay. But another thing that occurred to me after watching this episode was that, last week had all the energy and piecing and so much, revelation as to feel like a season finale, if not just like a half season finale or something like that. I mean, that seems to be the structure that a lot of shows are adopting. And so this week was kind of like, oh yeah, we still have a ways to go before the season is over. And not in a bad way. It made me, in a way, it kind of made me appreciate last week more.
Right.
Because it slowed down, and I was like, oh wow, I got a treat like that really fast-paced episode in the middle of seasons.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well. This. I don't want to the director is a TV director. He's and I forgot their name, but they're really popular. I mean, he's done a lot of. Sorry. But yeah, so he's done mostly TV and a lot of work for past 4, 5, 10 years, whatever. But he's really good. But I wasn't really the writers for this episode did the episode Out of Time episode. I think it was the 4th episode, and that was kind of it was a kind of okay episode. I think it was the first episode where they kind of stretched their wings a little bit, but I feel like this one was kind of lumbering a little bit for last one. So, what do you think, Devin?
It's funny you guys just mentioned the campiness of the rogues, though, because now that I'm thinking about it, it's just the corn factor kind of goes up completely when they're on screen, especially when you have Heatwave acting all nuts and crazy and everything. But the direction I felt like was solid overall. I mean, wasn't anything spectacular or amazing. I didn't think it was going to blow my mind, but it definitely told the story, did a good job cohesively with it, and then, I knew it was going on, so I'm not complaining too much. I do like the fact that they're actually setting up that whole cat and mouse game with the Captain Cold and Flash, though, because that's what that whole thing. Back in the day, in the Silver Age comic books, it was more about just a more fun games type thing. Never really trying to kill each other, just trying to play the game.
Right.
So kind of like Joker and Batman.
Right. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And in fact, it was like the I feel like it was a really good. I felt with that angle, they have a really good angle with that because they explained it in the Wally West issue too. Like it's like one of my favorite issues is like when the Wally West gets invited to the Rogues Gallery celebration.
Yeah.
His hotel or motel, and they I think the trickster sent him an invitation as a joke, but Wally West shows up anyway.
Oh.
And so and they're like, "What the hell are you doing here?" And sorry everyone for coughing, but in that one, the Rogues actually had great fondness for Barry because they realized that, and it's kind of been explained in past episodes where these Rogues are like gods; they can do whatever they want to do, but Barry in this episode has just thrown in a gauntlet and said, I deserve a better class of villain from you guys.
Oh.
So you guys better like take me on. And what he's doing is actually being if you will, a lightning rod for them to deal with him rather than go out and deal destruction elsewhere.
Mm-hmm.
And so in that way, he's being sacrificing himself, as you say. So I thought like that was they found a really good balance for the TV show aspect of it. So.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I remember that story very, very well. I remember him just saying that it was funny. He was like, "Oh, we have the power to move mountains. We can level cities if we wanted to." Yeah. But the Flash kept us busy, distracted. We were focused all on him, trying to, beat him to score, and we never really had a chance to get our potential at all. Like with Weather Wizard later on with that whole.
Right.
Can't remember the exact arc or a Blood Roll run, something like that around that era, but in any case, yeah, good stuff. Good stuff.
Right. Yeah. Right. Okay, so Easter eggs. Devin, were there any Easter eggs that you noticed this week?
Nothing really crazy, but I wasn't focusing that much on it. I was kind of just really wrapped up in the story a lot. Mm-hmm. I do know that Golden Gliders are a little bit different though in the comic book. I'll say that. Right. I don't remember the alchemical gold gun at all. He used to actually ride on ice skates.
Right.
He's like a world-class ice skater, actually.
Right.
But then she decided to follow in her brother's footsteps when her boyfriend, the Top, was murdered by Barry Allen. She's actually one of the few people in the comic book who actually knew his identity and used it against him on several occasions. So she would kidnap Iris, or she would hypnotize Iris into falling for this other character she created, like the Ringmaster. She had these weird jewels she would use in different ways. She was a way different character than they put on the screen. She still has that love for Lenny or Leonard Snart.
Yeah.
But I mean, it was expressed in a whole different manner.
Yeah.
In fact, I think later on, after because back in the comic books, the Rogues end up dying at some point and selling their souls. And Lisa misses her brother so much that she starts outfitting these himbos with his cold gun and using it to create various crimes until one gets a drop on her and kills her. But yeah, good stuff though. Way different than what I'm used to, but I still dug it though overall. Though I thought it was cool. It was also cool how Captain Cold has a little bit of knew his weapon inside and out and all that cool stuff too. Right. And nothing really Easter eggy I can think of, but I'll watch it again a few more times.
Was there anything about the crime family at all, like
the Santinis?
Yeah.
I was trying to think about it, but honestly, there's a big portion of the Bronze Age that I really haven't delved in as much as I should have. So I'm sure there's some crime family that Barry ran into back during his time. I'm more of a Wally West guy, I really am.
Yeah.
Like I read a bunch of the early Silver Age Barry stuff, but that Bronze Age era is just murky for me.
Right. Okay. Yeah, I thought that there was a callback, but I couldn't place it. So I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna watch it again, so maybe we'll have a little Easter egg section next week.
That's right. We keep plowing through crime families too. I don't know if it was a different crime family that got vaporized earlier in the season.
Which crime family was that?
I just remember they were all locked in the restaurant in a meeting.
Oh yeah, it was like the Cass guy.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
So there's a lot of the underground syndicate is having a lot of management shuffling as well, I guess.
Yeah.
Thanks to it's a trickle-down effect.
Flash is taking them all out. He's causing problems.
He's inadvertently taking out the local mafia, but yeah.
It must be huge, though. I mean, Central City must be like ginormous. Like
I know, right?
Family.
Yeah. How big is Central City? Sheesh. Yeah.
Although I do want to say there is a reason they revealed later on in comic books, as the biggest short, called the Network. Basically, it's this underground operation that brings all the rogues back to Central City over and over again because they can sell their, wares so much easier through this vast network of, crime cartels and syndicates run by this woman known as, I believe it was Blacksmith. But yeah, I digress. I thought it was a great episode overall, though. It was a nice change of pace, as you mentioned. It was a little slower, but it was cool to see personal moments and, kind of further things along that way.
Mm-hmm. Ooh, sorry. So, what else do we want to say? I think that's usually all the things that we are happy about and or complain about that we've covered. And so, what are we looking forward to? I'm looking forward to Mark Hamill. That's going to be interesting.
Original Trickster, yeah. I wonder how they're going to end up doing that, though, because they mentioned that he was a past villain of some kind, I'm assuming. Who the hell did he face? I mean, who was he fighting? I mean, what was going on before? Was he just like a crime person just running rampant across the city or something, or what? I don't know. So I'm curious to see how they, bring that back, call back to that whole situation. Another thing, I can't remember what it was, though. What we were trying to mention? Something important. I'll tell you later. But in any case,
yeah, I think
yes. It was funny how she just cast off all the Wally West parts of the whole thing, though. Like the Linda Park thing, she just kind of got tossed to the side. And Mason, Bridge, obviously, dead.
No respect.
I mean, what's going on? Are we just trying to just make sure we can't use those things ever again later on?
Yeah, I had this feeling the whole episode. I was like, well, if Cisco doesn't die, somebody's gonna die.
Yeah.
And so, just that very, because of what Wells said at the beginning about how things balance out. Wow. Like one thing will happen instead of the other, blah, blah, blah. And so, I mean, by killing him, he made Barry realize, what was really going on.
Right.
But, I was like, just when that scene happened I was like, oh no, he's going to be the one. It just hit me right then.
Right.
I do like seeing the speed tricks, though. It's always cool seeing him, vibrate the computer system and, wreck that, like the thing. And, it was really cool to see Reverse Flash use his powers because they seem so much more surgical. He knows what he's doing. And it's not quite there yet.
It's very refreshing contrast to see. Even though it's like for evil stuff, it's nice to see a Flash knowing what they're doing and stuff like that. So, but yeah, it's pretty good. And then, I think in the comic, I mean, I could be totally wrong on this one, but I think in the new, or one of the like the new Flash, it was like the old Trickster or something like that gets killed by the new Trickster. So I'm gonna see if that happens the next episode. I could be totally wrong on that, but
wait a minute, hold on, I'm trying to think.
Yeah, so I could be wrong on that one. I could be wrong. I
thought he died during that whole crazy thing where he was chained to Pied Piper. They were on a run.
Yeah, the villain's run. Yeah.
Yeah, that
Salvation Run.
Run or whatever it was.
Yeah, Salvation Run probably.
Yeah, then towards the end of that, I think I want to say he was shot or something, but I don't remember. I don't know exactly.
Yeah, we got your homework apparently.
Yeah. It's been a while since I read those. They were not my favorite part of the Flash run at all.
Yeah.
They ruined the Rogues then. That whole Bart Allen thing was crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, well, like just the Hamper, just to go back on one line. I think they did good job on finding the right pulse for the Rogues Gallery for the TV show, which is a very hard thing to do because it's like you have to walk that line of campiness and being realistic, and so I think they did a good job.
Are you ready to burn?
So
come on, Mick, chill, man.
Yeah. All right. Anything? So, anything else we want to say about this episode? Forever Hold Your Peace. Devin?
I'm good. It was.
Yeah. I think it's good.
I think it's that mid-season we're back to kind of hurry up and wait mode.
Yeah.
Which is okay.
Yeah.
This is how a series is supposed to work. That's okay.
Yeah, this is like the week before Christmas, right? Because you're like, okay, we got Mark Hamill coming. Everyone's just really eager for Mark Hamill.
And it's going to be the big team up at the end of the season too. So.
Oh yeah, so it's Mark Hamill, then it's a team up episode. So yeah, so it'll be pretty good.
Whoa! What's going on with what? Huh?
So Mark Hamill. Oh, so Mark Hamill is next episode, and then the next episode is titled was it All-Star Team Up or something like that?
Okay.
Yeah. So.
Who the heck is teaming up?
I don't know.
Huh.
We'll find out.
Rock on! That sounds awesome.
Yeah. So, I'm hoping it's like I hope it's a good crossover with Arrow and everyone. But,
maybe.
Because they said like no, because when they did the first team up crossover, they're like no, and then that could just been like a big tease, big secret or whatever. I don't know.
I don't know.
I'll be team up every week.
I'm pulling up the numbers. Sorry.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think we do see the Atom face off against Arrow this week.
Tomorrow. Yeah.
Yes.
So that's pretty fun.
To see what happens with that situation.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that's well, it's a comic book thing, right? It's like, there's so many comic book laws. One of them is the heroes must first battle each other, and then they become friends afterwards.
Yes.
So that's just like, so we have to have that episode, and I'm like,
it's funny because they always have to fight each other, and it, transforms their relationship, but it's also usually some level of exposition of like how one character's powers match up against his eventual cohort or whatever.
I mean, even the Avengers movie, they fought in that forest while transforming. Loki,
Yeah.
And I was just
there
like,
was Thor and Iron Man fighting over.
Yeah, and I was just bored to tears. I was just like, oh.
They have to fight with each other.
They have to fight with each other. Let's get it over with. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm just looking at the numbers now, and this is number 16 out of 22.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
So we've got 6 more, basically.
Pretty awesome. So what's the next one? So
it says Tricksters, and then there's an All-Star Team Up.
All-Star Team Up.
So it's called Trickster.
But it doesn't say anything about who it's going to be.
Yeah, there's no summary for that one yet. But hey, we have Mark Hamill, and then we have All-Star Team Up. Yeah. I think that's
2 great weeks.
2 hours of great content.
No, I just gotta wonder. The special effects are phenomenal sometimes. I'm just like blown away by how well done it looks.
Yeah. I was thinking about it because we talked about this a few episodes ago, and now, like, since you said it, Devin, I'm thinking about it where it's like Arrow had kind of like a slow burn, and Flash had to, pardon the expression, but hit the ground running with, building up to the same level of Arrow a lot more quickly. And I think it's kind of there now, whereas like Arrow's been on for almost 3 years, and so it's kind of like I think they probably learned a lot of things from doing Arrow that they can turn around and use to make the Flash move about the same pace, or
Flash in general is just more of a fast-paced type thing anyway. I mean, just
yes, it's very colorful.
I remember actually back in the old show, they had a few episodes where I was just like, what is the pacing with this show? Like, I mean, obviously now we have a lot more technology. We're obviously much, much better looking on film and much easier to incorporate that action at times. But I want to fall asleep watching the old one. Man. It was like, it was all dark, like Tim Burton-esque, like all like extra dark and gothically random. So I was like,
Oh, I get it, and all of our attention spans have gotten shorter anyway, and so it's a definite chicken versus egg argument on that. Do they make the shows faster because our attention spans have gotten shorter, or is it vice versa?
Right.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. All right. Cool. Well, I think that's it. Let's just call it done.
Oh, okay.
Is there anything else? But Ari, where can people find you? find
Oh,
you?
okay. I am on the Twitters ARI4NNE, and I have to be honest and say I don't tweet very much about comics or the Flash very much. But when I occasionally do tweet, and it's good. But yeah, I'd have to say these gentlemen talk about that a lot more on the Twitters.
Yeah. Right. And Devin, where can people find you?
I'm at Flash Johnson on Twitter, and I'm also at fastestfanalive.com.
Cool. And Devin tweets more about comics than both of us.
Put together, probably, yeah.
And
I'm under retweets, actually, unfortunately. I'm not a big active live tweeter, at least not yet. I've been always trying to try more things, but we'll see.
Yeah.
True. And then I'm at Teleject, TELEJECT, and we've been talking after the Flash. So yeah. Okay.
Thanks for joining us.
Yes. Woo.
Y'all.